Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish.
This is
The Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish. This is the Petri dish, the podcast that didn't just talk for like 20 minutes and lose everything. Hi.
It's true, and nothing's going on with that seal that's inappropriate.
Nothing inappropriate about that seal. I still can't eat peaches, but we're okay on that.
No stone fruits and no asparagus, right? Or is
There's
it
something
avocado?
growing in here, and it's intimidatingly delicious eats. I have today with me Brian Hoffman, who was in the middle of telling me about his recent tour, and then everything I have shit the bed. So we're just going to hop right back in to Brian
that is
trying
perfect.
to order barbecue.
Okay. Well, actually, we'll get up to barbecue because I'll just start because I started.
Oh,
I
yeah,
started
Stevens
kind of
Point.
backwards. Stevens Point. So we played a college show in the basement there. I got to play. Sheila joined me on the set. Sheila from Hemlock
I
Chaser.
think I saw some pictures of that. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I got a video recording of I-90 Miles, which was pretty cool. And I broke Silas's capo. I literally just squeezed it to wherever and it just shattered in my hands.
Like
and I'm like,
spring just
Yeah. It just like literally broke, like crushed and crumbled in my hands. And I'm like, what? Do I just destroy everything I touch? And then luckily Joe had his and it was fine.
That's good. Man, that sucks.
Because I felt so bad. And then Silas, he's like, as far as I'm considering it, it was a power move. But nonetheless, we played that show there. It was at a just off the campus in Stevens Point, off of the University of Wisconsin, whatever. But yeah, quite a few people. Really, really good turnout. A lot of good music, and got to revisit some of those songs with Sheila, which was a lot of fun, and got to get her painting that I did for her recording, and she loved it. So even in the video, which I think I have on TikTok, it has the painting in the back while we're performing, which is kind of cool. And
that's fucking cool.
Yeah, it was raining, like freezing rain and sleeting that night, but there were still just a ton of kids that came out. I felt bad, like during Sheila's solo set, a bunch of these college kids like left, like 14 people left in a line. And like, yeah, like, just wait in between songs at least so it doesn't, because that messes with a person's head a little bit. I mean, granted, maybe it messes with my head more than others, but nonetheless, it was pretty cool. There were some people, like I was in the back, like I said, I'm a 34-year-old at a college party, so I'm like, I'm here to do my job. Otherwise, everything else just feels weird. And so I was back just like, drawing and working on this painting. I just had paint markers because it was a little messy to bring paints last time, although I think I will bring paints because I can just do more.
Yeah.
But I'm back there, and then this one girl was like, "Can I color on it?" And I'm like, And then she tried to use one of my paint markers because at first I was going to let her color on it, and luckily Johnny Descent was there. He's like, "It's like I'm glad that marker didn't work. I didn't want her messing that up." And I'm like, "Neither did I," but I couldn't say no. And but nonetheless, yeah, it was a fun night. We had quite a bit of rain that we got out of, and then we played the vintage market at Badger Brewing in Green Bay, which was really, really cool. Got to try some really good beer there too. They have that barrel aged like whiskey ale or whatever there. Like, so it's like 12.5%. So they had one regular one that was just delicious and nice and sweet and good, and just like warms you up. And then the other one they had was like a Black Forest cake one, and like just chocolate and cherry, and it was so good. So such a good beer. Yeah,
Green Bay.
I do too.
I need to go back.
Yeah, it's the best. Like, and we played the show. We played during a vintage market during the day, so we were done by 2. So then we hung out at Travis's and just like jammed. And Travis and I were watching Joe Diffie music videos until wee hours in the morning with some like a lot. I mean, you don't leave Green Bay without a hangover unless you're very careful. So
the only way you can avoid the hangover is if you fill up on cheese.
Yeah, it's true. And sometimes you do both, and that's when you run into problems. But yeah, it was my first time in a while not having Cheesesteak Rebellion, but we got I can't remember what we got. Travis made steak and eggs for us the next day, and he even had mushrooms on them that he sauteed, and they were delicious. Like, and I don't eat mushrooms, so but all the time anyways. But yeah, so no, it was really, really nice, yeah. And Travis actually might be, because he's going to set up a home studio. So I got a few different options of where I'm going to do whatever. So that might be where I do the next album, and I just have to make sure, because I mean, I've had a few people offer and do whatever stuff like that and just make sure that I'm doing it the right way, whatever. But I'm excited to get that new stuff recorded and do some stuff with Hemlock Chasers. So yeah, that was Chicago. So or that was Green Bay. Then we were on to Chicago the next day, and Chicago is where I tried sushi. And I had never tried it before. Yeah, no, they said we went to the Asian marketplace, the 88 marketplace. It's like bigger than the Empire Mall in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Just a Asian grocery store. And so I got Kennedy some various candies because I got her Easter basket all together, just different places over the country. And so yeah, we went to this and I tried sushi there and it was really good. Yeah, it was tremendous. I get it. Well, and then especially with like, I have to eat more fish and stuff with my diet and things now. So finding different ways and different things that you like is good, but so we did there. We got to Chicago, and Chicago looks like when you're playing like a Minecraft game and there's like a city in the distance and buildings just keep generating. It's terrifying. It scares me. There's a lot going on.
It's a big place. Because it's in the Midwest. You think there's not going to be a city that big in the middle of nowhere out here.
Yeah.
And then Chicago comes out of nowhere. They're like, hey, you see all those buildings on the horizon? You got to pay to use this road to go see them. Yeah. And you're like, I was just driving.
We took the Grand Skokie Highway. We avoided tolls on the entire trip.
Yeah, that sounds like a no toll road.
Yeah, Skokie Highway. Yeah, it was pretty great. We actually got it. We went past a lot of the traffic that was backed up on the regular one or whatever. But then, yeah, it was still, it took a while to get into where we needed to be. But then we played a house show there with with Ouroboros, the Poser, and Constant Headache. Got to see them both with full bands. Oh my God. So good. Tremendous. Constant Headache might be like one of my favorite bands that I've played with now. Like they were so good. And like every single person in the band is so talented. And Oro's they're just such a sweetheart, whatever. So we did an art exchange with a thing there too. And I was able to gift Ben a painting like I was going to at the Regal Beagle last time before their show got canceled. So yeah, so we had 3 great shows in a row. We went to Kalamazoo, we went to the place, and the guy just ghosted us. The guy that was putting on the show. He was supposed to have a contract for us the other day. We got there. We even talked to like his boss, and he's like, no. And you could just tell he was just going to stonewall us and not let it happen. So we had like a night in Kalamazoo, whatever, and luckily got a cheap hotel room. The dispensaries were way cheaper there than that first place we stopped. That first place we stopped last year was dumb. But like otherwise, every other dispensary in Michigan is the cheapest thing you'll ever get, Yeah. So but yeah, so we did that and hung out. The thing that we tried to look at a few other places, but Kalamazoo had some weird vibes. Like Michigan has some weird vibes. Like,
Michigan is weird as shit because it's got Detroit, but it's also got like Kalamazoo.
It's Florida North kind of, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. That's because it's just they're both peninsulas. You have to go into the state and then get out of them. There's no going through either state. You know what I mean? And yeah, but I mean, Ypsilanti is a sweet little spot, and we had Kalamazoo and kind of a down day, and I know Joe got a little discouraged, but it was just fine. And otherwise, the moods were pretty good. We were riffing, and he does a lot of funny voices, so it was he made me get lightheaded quite often, which was pretty fun. But we so we did that, and then we played Ypsilanti the next day, but we decided to go check out Detroit since we weren't very far,
Yeah.
And we had and Joe had wanted to see it, and drove there. And he's born and raised in Minneapolis, so I mean he's a great city driver, much like yourself. And so we went through there, and okay, so I got to see Canada, and I got to see a big freighter ship go by, which was really really cool, and like it was kind of neat. And then like the skyline of Detroit is like the future of 1974, like it's just like like. It looks
at one point you can tell they had plans for it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the skyline looks cool, but it's like weird, like industrial, like it looks like Sonic 2 kind of a little bit. Like it's just it's very strange. But it looks nice and clean from Canada. So like we look good to Canada, but then you get a little further in, and
you make Detroit sound like North Korea. Like from the border, you could never tell. There's so many malnourished people starving to death.
There's not even people there, man.
It's just like a lot of abandoned buildings.
Yeah. So it was, but no, I mean it was cool. Like there's a part that's like developed. You can see where it's kind of coming back, but then you get into some of those dead spots where there's just nothing. You know what I mean? And it was cool to see. But then Joe, he's Gorillaz are his favorite band, and we were going down this one. He just turned off his GPS and just drove to Detroit, which is something I would never do. But it's fine. Yeah, I was with him and I was fine with it. He was playing some chill instrumental music. We had a good time. Like I wasn't nervous at all, but it's just something like I wouldn't trust myself at all with this, And so we end up going. We're going around and doing whatever, and then he's like, this house looks like the house from that music video that the Gorillaz have. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but like whatever. And then he looked it up on and found it on Reddit, and he's like, oh, that's not the house. The house is a block up there. So we're in the middle. We're in the middle
he
of
nailed
Detroit.
the neighborhood though.
Yeah. We're in the middle of Detroit, just in the middle. It could have been anywhere, and then we're a block away. So we got a picture of him in front of that house, and he showed me the music video when we had gotten back to their place, and that was pretty neat. And there were some cool spots. We didn't really get out anywhere, I don't think, just because we had just a little bit of time to kill, one and drive it. But oh my god, there was a guy driving, and his wheels, like some people do it on purpose, have their wheels like that. This wasn't on purpose. Like that, he must have taken, like he must have been
Took all the bottom lug nuts off.
There's no way that car is still driving. Like, I mean, and he was speeding around people and passing and everything like that. We thought we were going to witness a big pileup too, because like they were driving pretty crazy through the whole part of it. But yeah, and then we played Ypsilanti that night. We stayed at Anthony's, we played with Premium Rat. They're fantastic. You should check them out. I think you'd really enjoy them, especially like if you like Sincere Engineer. Very similar, or like not similar, but they definitely vibe together. And then that was a really great show, a lot of fun. And then the next morning we woke up, and it was because we were driving in but we woke up and it was like 80 degrees outside, just like hot and warm, because we were driving to like wintry weather, and then all of a sudden it's like 80 degrees. And I looked at my radar. I'm like, oh, we're in a tornado watch, whatever. So I'm like, okay, we need to get out of here, And sure enough, so then I was talking and saying, I just looked at the radar. I'm like, this looks like a place where something I see why the watch is there. I used to storm chase and stuff like that. And then they weren't really sure. And Anthony's like, I don't think it's going to happen there. I'm like, I bet there's something in the area, And we got to Ohio, and then like a little bit, like when we were going to leave, there was a tornado warning by Ann Arbor, so we were lucky. So, and it was good because I felt right and smart, and that was fun too.
Yeah, you were like, hey, this time my anxiety paid off.
It's like I could do things. I'm smart, but yeah, no. So we got there, but I drove the Ohio stretch from Ypsilanti to Springfield. We went to Yellow Springs, but it's right by Springfield, But we drove that stretch, and we got to see a trash can just fucking explode on the highway. Yeah, so like we were saying, like, yeah, you're blowing up like an Ohio trash can. Well, it got hit by a semi truck, so that makes sense. I made that mistake with Jameson. I made that mistake with Jameson too. I was just like, I'm telling the story. I'm like, yeah, we saw this trash can explode. He's like, what was in it? I'm like, oh yeah, there's a truck. There was momentum towards it with a large vehicle. Yeah. But yeah, it was just rolled across the road, and then I thought it was a tire blown, and then just obliterated this thing. It was on that stretch through Ohio where it just you go through all those towns. You know how we went through all those towns? I got to drive that stretch and just speed up, slow down, go through a bunch of just ridiculous rain. But it wasn't so bad. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I didn't mind it. Like, Joe likes to drive his car. It's his car and it's his wife's car, so like I get it. Whatever. But like, I always like it when I'm able to contribute and pitch in those long, and like that's not too much traffic or anything for me. And I mean, but there's times like, I mean, I've gotten really freaking overwhelmed the past few years since COVID with driving, and I really need to get over it, because if I want to keep traveling, and God forbid I tour by myself and don't have somebody that can, chauffeur me around like you or Joe, I don't want to do that. I want to contribute a little bit. So, but nonetheless, it was a decent little drive down there. And then the rain, like we were in Yellow Springs, was definitely a foot traffic, home of Dave Chappelle, by the way. So I was so happy to see all of the pride flags. They were just everywhere. They were fighting, pride and trans flags and stuff like that. It was good to see, I mean, especially in things like you didn't expect it in kind of a smaller Ohio town, but like, yeah, I was happy to see that. And so we played at Tuck and Reds there with Mike and Katrina Joe, and then actually the same people that played at the open mic when we were there, and that was a nice little visit. And then we didn't have a place to crash, so we left right after, and Joe drove through the night. But that's when I had the moonshine, so I had so I woke up in Terre Haute, Indiana. But Joe did really, really well, and we had already agreed that I could go whatever a little bit, but nonetheless we got in the car, and then he
smuggled you out of Ohio.
He smuggled me out of the whole thing. Yeah. And then I mean, I remember leaving and all that, but he's like I was like, yeah, we'll get through that. He's like, yeah, you made it to us getting on the interstate. So, which is par for the course for me. But we did that, and then we had to drive all the way through to Kansas City, and we went to Boulevard Brewing when we got there because we had stopped and slept in Terre Haute for like a good 5 hours or so. And with it being warmer, it wasn't so bad. I mean, you and I slept in the car on tour too. You do it, you make it work. We actually had we stayed in a Hampton Inn parking lot, and it was perfect. Yeah, so yeah, but nonetheless, we went to the brewery, checked out a few things in KC, and then we went to Gates Barbecue. And I remember seeing, like, and this is where we were at before, back to the barbecue. It's going to be an underwhelming, whatever thing. But the lady was scary. She was scary. She was yelling at people. I'm like, and either way, but it wasn't like that bad, but enough to be like, I'm not going to ask. Okay, so basically, if you don't have your order ready, don't be up there. And I went up there. I'm like, I'm gonna get a mixed platter and 2 drinks, and I'm like, I'll take the mixed platter, and then she asked for the sides of the meat. I'm like, beef and whatever, and then she's like, next. I'm like, okay. And then Joe's like, can we get 2 drinks too? I'm like, thanks, Joe. We had just powered through it. Like, I wouldn't even ask for a glass of water. I'm so scared. and nonetheless, tremendous barbecue. Absolutely brilliant barbecue. It was really, really good. Good sauce. You get 3 ribs, a big old pile of brisket, big old pile of ham, covered in their barbecue sauce, and then covered in steak fries. So like it was just perfect. It was really, really good, and it was like 30
big
bucks.
Old pile.
Yeah, it was great. We just devoured it, and then we went across the street because there was like Gates barbecue sauce, but it's like, so we went over there thinking it'd be like a gift shop where they sell it. I mean, you could buy it at the front counter, but I was too scared. Not, yeah, I mean, but either way, we went over there, and there's just like this room with a bunch of chairs and like one of those roll-up TVs that you watch 9/11 on.
Yeah, it's like on a cart for some reason. Yeah.
yeah. And then a bunch of their barbecue history, and no one's in there, and it's like right, and I'm like, literally no one's working in there. Even it's just an open room, like I'm gonna watch this tape, and like. Yeah, so I didn't, and we didn't get the sauce, but I will probably order some. So, but then we played at Bush Ranger Records that night. Dane Talley was supposed to play with us. We played with him back at the pairing back. You and I did.
Yeah.
He ate a bad kiwi and got food poisoning. So it was just me and Joe, and then we had stopped at the pairing, and I had gotten a cheap bottle of whiskey, and just because I had barbecue that day, so I'm like, I'm not having beer too, otherwise. Just not going to be good for the old gout. And either way, so obviously Matt pointed me in the right direction. I got this Chapter 8 stuff, and the night went as it went. And then we went to Davenport. We played a really cool show at the Village Theater with Miss Christine, and they were brilliant. Really brilliant music. It was a nice little prairie theater. And then we had a nice welcome home show in Minneapolis at Badger's Den at Joe's, and then I drove home. And yeah, it went really fast. It was kind of it was very similar to our run we went on, except we didn't go as far south, but it went really fast and really, really great. Did a lot of great shows. There were a few, like Kansas City, I think because Dane had to drop, we didn't get as many people out, but that happens. But they got a really cool spot there at Bush Ranger Records. And yeah, but it was it was just a really great run, and Joe's a lot of fun. I know you know him from seeing him there, and yeah, we had a good time. We were missing our dogs and the kiddo, when we were gone, but it was kind of nice, because especially like we haven't mentioned this at all, I guess, but I'm kind of talking to somebody, seeing somebody now, and I've kind of like. It was and especially since I have like a plan for kind of a goal of moving out to Rapid City and stuff, I wasn't like dreading going home like I always am. Yeah, I'm not never dreading
going
seeing
back
my daughter.
to just silence and routine.
Yeah, and just wondering what
What's
so like
next?
it was really nice to have that, you know what I mean? And I noticed that, and just noticed that I was just genuinely just have been a little happier lately, and that's been good. And today it might be an outlier because I just kind of having a slump Monday, slum day, but yeah, it's it was really, really fun. I'm really excited to get those songs that we recorded out there. I did show Joe and Emily Caveman.
Hell yeah. Hey, I put that video out there from their living room. So
You did. You did. Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah. And it's but then that was like your best performance of it on the tour. Well, other
yeah.
than in
That
Nashville, you did
one
amazing at it
felt
in
right.
Nashville. Yeah, it was such a that room in the same way. Like I played my best show at Badger's Den the last night, and I got my Martin fixed. So I was actually able to
Good.
have my Martin like, and it's like double washer. That shit's not falling out of there anymore. So like I got it fixed. It's fine. New strings, fretboard cleaned up, truss rod adjusted. Like it's playing the best it's played in 10 years. And so, but then I was able to play there unplugged, just do whatever, just belt it out last show of the tour, and like it was so fun. It was so cathartic, and just a really all around, and because well, Joe and Emily, they're such great, wholesome, genuine people too. That it was just really the show was over by 11. We ordered pizza, and we just hung out and watched, and like literally we were gonna try to stay up and hang out and kind of savor it, whatever. And then
End of
Emily
tour,
like
it's really hard to.
yeah. So we're sitting on the couch and just having fun or whatever, and then before you know it, Emily's like, "You guys are both sleeping. We're both just on the couch, just heads back. Just can't do it. We're showing each other YouTube videos and just can't do it." And but it was so fun. It was like the end of a sleepover almost. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how like I don't know, man. Like it's like our run back in November was one of my favorite runs I've ever been on. And because it was you're the first person I ever toured with and thought that like I could travel with, doing stuff like that. And then like we were able to actually get out there and show our music to people because we had a hard time getting people to actually hear our music for a while,
Yeah.
and we still do, but I mean, but it just because that's just the name of the beast. But it was so, yeah, it was just special, and this was another really special run. But I don't know that run that you and I went on will have. I mean, I think it was just kind of a didn't expect it to be, but kind of a different start of a chapter in my life of like maybe being a bit more having a bit more self-esteem and stuff, and that's been paying off in dividends lately. Things have been going pretty well. I got 3 different galleries in South Dakota that want my stuff displayed now. So
that's fucking good.
Yeah.
That last tour was really like the highest highs and the lowest lows, but we made it. So it was still like, like fuck the fact that we didn't have shows for like 4 days in the middle of the tour. But we also got to fucking record in Nashville. So it's like, so much shit was cool.
That tropical storm really kind of, put us in that situation to do that. So I think like, as far as like serendipitous happenstance, like it was really, really special. And like, I had such a good time, and we, and yeah, we, and like on that tour, like I paid rent the first night of tour. So like, I was not worried, you know what I mean? And at least not
that
about
was
that
Fargo,
stuff.
right? Where you just like sold out of everything.
Yeah, sold out of everything. I upped my prices on this last run. So I made about the same amount of money, but I didn't sell as much. And like,
Beautiful.
but so that's not so bad. I did have a stack of paintings go up in the wind, like a deck of cards in Green Bay. And luckily, like some one person caught one, but I had one get a hole in it. But yeah, they're just like just flying like 50 yards. Like it's insane. Like, yeah. But yeah, it was, but other than that, you take that sometimes, but yeah. What else? Noteworthy on it. I did get a stop, before the Stevens Point show and visit Chad in Wausau. We stopped at intermission and had a drink or two and then, got back on the road with them or whatever. But, so that was nice, but, yeah, no one kept us up crazy late this time. Like, it normally happens at least once. I know I was maybe that person for Joe in Green Bay. A little bit. Joe will sleep anywhere though. He fell asleep on the couch, and then, Logan, Travis, and I were watching videos on YouTube, and then like country music, like Brooks and Dunn music videos where he does like the swing of the guitar, and we're just giggling like
just
little
watching
babies.
schlocky 90s country.
Shit. And then Logan's like comes walking in from the kitchen. She's like, he's not gonna think it's funny. You're the only thing he's thinking it's funny. And I'm just in here just cracking up, cheesing. She's like, you guys are ridiculous.
This is why none of you have friends.
Yeah. But it was so funny. And Travis is such a gem too. And yeah, his dog was there this time, so we got to hang out with old Blue.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's the dog that wanted to kill us last year, but just because they didn't know who we were when we showed up at 4 a.m. to crash after the show.
Yeah.
So then because his roommate literally like tackled us out on the porch. He's like, no, you cannot go in there. That dog will murder you if Travis isn't here. So then no, but the dog, sweetest dog in the world once he knows you, but adorable. He doesn't know you.
Yeah, he's real suspicious about it. I get it.
Absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
suspicious of people if I'm not,
Oh, I
if
would be
I'm
too.
not introduced in just the right way, I might bite somebody's face. I don't fucking know.
I've done it. Um, I did at Valley Fair. When I don't remember doing it, but apparently I did bite my mom's boob at Valley Fair when I was 3. So I've been known to do it. So and I'm ruthless. So that's what people think when they think Brian Hoffman. They're like, that guy's ruthless, you know. But yeah,
Heard that dude bit his mama's tit off.
and then went on a roller coaster. Okay.
Still hanging out of his teeth.
Still hanging out of his teeth. Yeah. Okay. He'll get you every time. Well, enough about my mom's breasts. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I'm now it's kind of slowed down for this year. I'm gonna be doing a handful of shows like one-offs this summer, maybe a run or two, but I don't see I just kind of want to get something to get a part-time job and just kind of save up some money for the move next year. I do have Bindlefest coming up in September, which I'm really excited about. And I may be visiting down to Alabama in June as well.
Ooh.
So yeah, so that might be kind of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's been a really good year so far. I'm excited to get our songs released, bud.
Yeah, I really gotta. I don't know if there's an email I missed or something. I probably gotta follow up on that because
Yeah, I think he
haven't been paying
messaged
attention.
a while back. And yeah, and then I think I was on the road even maybe a while, but or I just didn't respond. One of the two. We should maybe get back to him.
Yeah, probably should do it. Since he's giving us friend prices and trying to get this shit done, we're like, what?
Yeah, we should maybe do that. Yeah, but nonetheless, we'll get there. I'm excited. We made some cool stuff. I'm excited to get it out there, and yeah, and then yeah, I know since your wedding isn't until, like I said, I'm going to start the limp of love. Just start limping towards Nevada sometime soon, so I make it there. But
hell yeah,
yeah, I did get to see Reed.
Read the steed.
Right before I left on tour, he came down and visited, and yeah, he's gave me some fresh eggs. He's been quite the chicken monger now, which is the term.
That dude's got a monster cock.
He talks about it all the time. He's only got one cock and a bunch of hens, but he talks about that cock.
He texted me out of nowhere about it. I was quit saying stuff. Send pictures.
Wasn't it like in the middle of the night too? Because he was telling me that because I texted you while he was talking. I'm like, Reed's talking about his monster cock because I couldn't help myself. And then
gotta find my phone. I think it was worse. It was like first thing in the morning. Like he'd been up all night.
That is almost worse.
I hope he doesn't think about my dick.
First thing in the morning. I hope he doesn't think about that. But him and I actually played some guitar. He's kind of getting back and doing some songwriting, and he needs to because he's brilliant. So I'm hoping to work on a few more things with him very soon, actually. So
okay, no, he texted me at night, and I didn't respond. I was asleep already, and I didn't respond till the morning. I woke up to Reed talking about he was trying to contextualize your monster cock text. But in turn, he just sent me a wild text out of nowhere about a large chicken. And I was like, I don't know what any of this means, but hell yeah. And he's like, it's literal. There's no metaphors. There's nothing to insinuate.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Yeah, I like it better. I like that better. Yeah. That he's just talking to me randomly about chickens. And I'm like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, I know that like when, I think we all get that way as we get older. Like, we even talked about like we don't know like when you can reach out to a friend. Like, oh, it's been too long now, so now I feel like I can't say anything. But like with us, I feel like we can always just pick up where we left off. So I'm like, just send him pictures of your chicken at 3 a.m. But
yeah, I've really stopped thinking like, oh, I need to come in with something hot. If something sparks my brain to be like, I need to reach out to this person, I'll do it. That's just like I did to you today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was listening to music, trying to do some work at work, and then I listened to Theater Girls Will Break Your Heart, and I was immediately like, Brian just did a tour. Let's talk to him.
stuff. Well, I appreciate it. No, it made my day. It was something to kind of look forward to, whatever, too. And yeah, I always have a good time chatting with you. Yeah, and that song, we talked about it a little bit because a little bit with because that was the song that started every drive of every morning.
Yeah,
Every time we got into the car was "Theater Girls Will Break Your Heart" by Zach Baker. And with such Minnesota charm. And but yeah, I will just randomly text you, like, just if I think of anything. It's just like, floopity doopity. I'm gonna tell Bobby I'm thinking about him, even if I don't have words. But I try to do that. And there's some friends that certain things, you things slip away. But Reed and I, like, we feel like we have that shared, all toured with a monster trauma that we can always just pick up where we left off, even if we're, but
yeah, really, I think any of the three of us could just text each other at any time. You want to listen to Hot Fuss by the Killers in its entirety? You guys just want to hop on a Zoom call and listen to an entire Killers album several times in a row?
Yes, we better.
Yeah,
yes,
we have to. We have to. This drive is 6 hours, and we have one CD. 6 hours.
Yes, it's the thing is, I made a comprehensive.
We had a playlist. We had Spotify. Like,
I didn't even add music to it. I had you add music. I had Reed add music. I even asked Peter, like, what do you want on this album? Because he didn't have Spotify, and then he wouldn't add anything, and then he'd be like, well, fuck, I'm gonna listen to anything. He's like, and then I added one Modest Mouse album. He's like, do you have any other album? I'm like, God, I just want to squeeze your head.
No, they got like 12 of them. Tell me which one you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, be more, and like, yeah. So it was, but instead we'll just listen to that, and then Social Distortion in northwestern Nebraska or South Dakota. And I'm sorry, man. I told Peter to fill up with gas and lemon.
Yeah,
because I knew. And yes, it has been 10 years. But
holy shit, it's been 10 years.
Close. It will be. I'm pretty sure. Well, no, it'd be
next year. Next year. Still, that still feels fresh to me. It's been damn near a decade.
Does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, but and then sure enough, but. God, I really thought we we're maybe going to get murdered by that lady when we were getting that ride to Newell.
That was the tour that I drank mayonnaise and Jaeger mixed together.
Yeah, you shared that thing, and I showed that to Madison, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like, "You drank that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did to impress a Tinder match."
And
it worked.
It tasted like a Tinder match.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. And it was even funnier because you were like, all right, I got this Tinder match. Like, they work in this like random bar. We'll be able to maybe get like some free drinks. And we had to pay to drink Jaeger and mayonnaise. It turned out so wrong.
Yeah. It was so bad. Much like the flavors in that shot, the Tinder match did not work. And it was fine. Creamy. It was like snot.
Yeah. Sour and creamy, and
creamy snot.
You know what makes me sour and creamy is Blink-182, as I've typed below my face. I don't have a good segue, but
you segued into it. Now you're just swerving.
I got real hyped this weekend because it's Coachella. And I don't ever give a shit about Coachella, but last minute Blink-182 got announced as like a random spot at like 6:30 p.m.
Oh, cool.
Like in the middle of the day. Not even like, ooh, they're headlining. They just like took a 6:30 spot.
Oh shit.
And all of Coachella is streamed for free on YouTube, which, like, hey, if you're gonna be doing like multi-million-dollar Live Nation, like fuck you tiny bands type of shit, at least do some free shit. And that's I'm glad Coachella at least puts things out. And so my entire it was Friday night. My Friday night plans was watching Blink-182 for free on YouTube because I'm 30 years old. That is the activities
Yeah, the only live shows I go to are shows that I'm playing at. Other than like if there's a show that's close by or whatever, and something that's in whatever. But like, I have a. I mean, I don't know. Well, of course, like also like I can't afford concerts. Like they're
Right?
like, you know what I mean? Yeah,
They're
like
getting
as
so
much as I
expensive.
yeah, everything's great. Like I mean, like as much as like the Mountain Goats played in Sioux Falls while I was gone, but like as much as I wanted to see that show, like I even the $45 ticket is just like no. I mean, I'm on a pretty tight budget, so I am lucky though at least that I have like a lot of friends that are super talented. But I watched like the last concert, I guess I watched Hemlock Chaser play on the Wapaka Live a while back, and
Hell
that was
yeah.
great. It was just and then you can do it from the comfort of your own home because like
I
I'll watch some yeah.
I appreciate live videos or like streamed concerts because there's never anywhere comfortable to sit at any venue. And I
No,
like sitting.
there was a in Davenport. There was a couch backstage because it was in the theater, and I got to sit back and hear the music and be in the back there, and that was wonderful. And yeah, there's a few spots like if you can find like but if you're just going to like if you're an artist, I suppose you can there's some places you can sit. But if you're going to a show, yeah, there's not going to be anywhere. Like I can wear whatever comfortable sneakers I want, but it's still going to be part of my back.
Yeah, one
But
of these days, maybe will be just notable enough to be able to play theaters with that have like theater seating. So that way we can just be like, ah,
yeah. There it
time
is.
for a show.
Yeah. Well, it's always good to set goals. Well, when we're playing the Grand Ole Opry with our funk songs, because we recorded them there. Kennedy's going to Tennessee this week. Actually, she turns
Oh
12.
shit.
So, yeah, it's crazy how fast that's went. But she's going to Tennessee with my mom and her mom and my sister as well and her two daughters. So they're going down to Dollywood, and Dolly's going to be there. So I'm like, you tell Dolly that your dad recorded in Nashville, and
Yeah, and
just I'm
tell
just
her
going to
to
use her as
hop
a
on the track. Yeah.
just use it, yeah, use my daughter as a pawn. I'm not going to have her enjoy seeing her hero or anything like that. I'm like, you're going to get to work when you see your hero. Just kidding.
Yeah. You go there, you give her this CD.
You give her this CD now. No, I'm excited for her though because she's loved Dolly since she was like 4, so it'll be pretty cool. But yeah, speaking of which, I do need to go. I need to go pick her up from school. So
Hell yeah. Well,
yeah.
guys, this has been a Petri dish. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been Brian and me and Blink 182. Just kidding, it hasn't.
Thank you, Blink 182 for coming on by textually, and okay, all right.